everyone. Welcome to Conversations by Every Good Work. And this is focused on building conversations around what it means to build in partnership with God, what it means to build your vision, build your lives in partnership with God. And so for the first ever episode, we have the most beautiful, stylish, amazing Oke Maduewesi.
I didn't know it was the first. So yes, I'm lucky, right?
Yes.
I get to be the first. Hi, Ijoma. So nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
I've always been a fan of yours. Well done. You've always loved God, and I love that about you.
Oh, thank God. Same here, actually. So how would you describe yourself beyond your title and your work?
Yeah, so I always introduce myself as Oke Maduewesi, the face of a single parent, the face of a Christian in the marketplace, and the face of widowhood. And I say this because you can be all of this and more and still be thriving. So that's who I am.
Thank you. I love that. What are some of your favorite things these days? What do you love to do?
Oh, I was saying that I don't know if I can say this because I know this, but I just recently started watching reality TV. There's some I watch. So I do enjoy it outside the usual things that I do. I started cooking again because I lost my flair for cooking a couple of years back when my husband passed. So I stopped cooking, but I started cooking again, and my food is getting there. I think I can say I'm a good cook, and I'm a workaholic. So I actually enjoy working. I really do. So yes, it gives me satisfaction when I'm productive. So I think that's what it is for me.
So tell us about Zaron Cosmetics and founding Zaron Cosmetics. How many years have you been now?
Oh, so Zaron is 14 years
14?
this year. Of course, I'm single. So when people ask me, when the question on my relationship started, I'm like, well, I'm in a relationship with Zaron Cosmetics, you know? So because it's my passion, it's my drive, it's my go-to place apart from when I'm not, I mean, Christ is number one in my life, obviously, but yes, so Zaron gives me that satisfaction. And because it's been a journey and it's been an amazing journey, and the good, the bad, the ugly has come, and we have been so blessed. And so when people ask me how is Zaron, the first thing I say is thankful, because it's from a place of thanksgiving. I'm just always so thankful because I know even the challenges that he has put us through, it's for us to walk through the journeys and to learn from it. And we've always come out stronger, way stronger. And I have the best team ever. So yes, I'm really thankful and just blessed.
That's so beautiful. You know, coming here and just being in your office and seeing everyone, your team, there's this love that is there. And, you know, where does it come from? Because I've noticed like they're almost like family to you.
Yes. I always say Christ is love. I've been having conversations around the New Testament and the Old Testament, and I know that the Bible is one, but I just really love the New Testament because of Christ. I love Christ, and because he just showed love. You know, it was just journey of love the whole time. So I've always tried to live through that and just understand that regardless, I mean, we have our moments, and that's also love when we kick ourselves, right? But underneath all that, and the team knows and they understand it, that sometimes they call me Mommy Bear because they know that even when I demand things and when we go through the hard times, they know that this woman would always be there for us and all that. So it's been amazing. And I think I've also been blessed with good people. And we've managed to build that culture of wholesomeness and love around the system that you just come in. And even if you have bad intentions, you just come in and you won't be able to thrive here if you have bad intentions, exactly. So you just come in and just assume that love because it's already there. So from top down, there's just the undertone of what Zaron's about. And I always tell my friend, I said, this is a business, but this business is founded in Christ. So we have some Muslims working for us, and when we do prayers, they do come, they pray with us, you know, because they understand. So we're not trying to be politically correct as a people. We are just Christians. I mean, the foundation of the business is in Christ. So we're not trying to just try to be nice about it. We're very clear about that.
I love that.
And so it's founded in Christ, and Christ is love.
Christ is indeed love, and I saw that, coming
Yeah.
here. But tell us about your journey of visioning with God. So building Zaron, how you started. Yeah.
So I always say that you have to be mindful of you have to be mindful to hearing, right? And it's very, very, and there are different ways of hearing, right? And the old-fashioned way, some people thought, okay, there was a knock and all that. No, you just know when it's time. And one of the ways you know is you have to have peace with it. So that's very, very important. I used to work in Zenith, and um, and I used to live in Port Harcourt. Had met my husband, had children, and he had passed. But I was still working, but obviously it wasn't time. But when it was time, there was so much clarity and peace, and I was living at the best time possible. So it's also very important because sometimes people just want to leave work when they're just not happy, when they want to do in your face to your boss, that kind of attitude, when there's someone you feel like, but you just know, because like I said, it has to come with some level of peace, and make sure you leave when things are seemingly good, and you just know that
That's while you're ahead.
yeah, exactly. And you just know that you're longing for more, and yeah, so I knew that time had come, and yeah, and I took advantage of that opportunity because I knew it was time.
I love that. So what were a few things that challenged you to grow out of your comfort zone? So when you started Zaron, how was it at first? I mean, you must have started small, but what, forged you into growing out of your comfort zone and doing what you're doing now?
So I've never liked the word comfort zone. That's for sure. I've always thought that comfort zone is a problem. When you are in a place where everything is just so calm and so chill, then that means you're not doing enough. And there's more out there that you're supposed to be doing. So at every point in time, I just always want to challenge myself. I'm always like, there must be something out there. There must be more to do. There must be the next level. God has called us and He's given us capacity, and I always say the earth is out of the fullness thereof. So I'm not going to leave this earth not fulfilling destiny. And I think one of the Bible verses that I love the most, Mount Moral, like we have to live empty, right? So, but at every point in time, I question myself: do you think you've done enough to live empty? And there's always more. There's always room for more. So, I mean, I knew it was time. And like I said, I left with so much peace, knowing it was time, but not knowing what it was. And even when you leave, when you're at peace and knowing it was time and all that, there's a world of challenges ahead, right? But and that's life for you. You must know that challenges would always come, but He said He did not guarantee no challenges. He just said He will see us through. So the journey was hard, but He just kept on showing Himself, and I knew He was present. And I always say there was never plan B, and I knew I had to do it.
Yeah, I like the idea that there was never plan B.
Yeah.
Because when you're visioning with God, if He has given you a vision, then He's made provision, and then it also means that He's with you.
Absolutely.
He'll see you through. So yeah. So when did you realize it was time to scale? Like, what was there a defining moment? How far had you gotten before you realized that you wanted to scale Zaron Cosmetics?
So I'll tell you the story. I remember when we just started Zaron Cosmetics, because it was organic growth from the start, right? But the vision was very clear. So it's very important for you to have that vision, right? So the vision was clear. And I remember marketing then was, we just didn't have enough resources to do real bang in the market, like go to TV stations, do the radios and the whatever it is that we needed to do on that scale to be able to scale to the next level. But we had word of mouth. We had partners, like we did franchising, because franchising meant that we had to use resources of other distributors, right? And also the capital outlay to build your own stores. You didn't have to put that on ground. So you could leverage from the network of the franchisees and the distributors out there. And so that we had that. But we needed people to know what Zaron Cosmetics was about. And it got to a point where I knew that to get from, so at every point, but I'm just telling a story about how it worked at some point. And when it got to that point, we just went all the way, and we knew it was time to get to billboards and get to the TV channels. And so I took that next step. And that leap, yes. And when we started, we didn't see brands like us on billboards, on TVs, or anywhere, So Zaron was the first beauty brand, and that sent a very strong message to the marketplace, like, who the hell is this cosmetic brand, and taking space with big multinational brands. So I think that also gave us that leap with branding, because I think the most important thing is about branding. You have to create a strong brand in the market. So that really helped us. So from that point, we scaled to the next level. And so for every season that we needed to scale, we will have to do something really massive to send a stronger message to the marketplace. So that's very, very important.
So, what mindset shifts were necessary, instrumental in helping you scale from where you started? So, do you feel like you needed to grow in some way in your capacity or your mindset to move to that next level?
So it's interesting you use the word mindset. I always say it's mainly the power of the mind, and that's the biggest thing for me. And I'm very thankful to God that I got that very early on in life, right? I think the mind is the most powerful tool ever. I think there's a quote that says that the mind is 80%. What you do is actually 20%. So you can imagine how strong the mind is. So you must be able to conceive it here first. And once you do, and that's how it works for me. So I conceive it. So I start from the end, and I start from the end and I work from the beginning to that end that I already have seen, right? And I say it's the same thing with the concept of faith. Things that are as though they were, right? So that's exactly what I do. So I always have the picture of what I want at every point in time, and I start working towards it. So and working towards it is not easy. I always say that it's like you're going from Ikoyi to Ikeja. You could pass Third Milan Bridge, you could pass Ikorodu Road, you could go through Ibadan and come round, right? I mean, there are so many ways of getting there. Yeah. But at the end, so sometimes you really miss it and you really go through Ibadan to just get to Ikeja and you're wondering why is it so far? But the main goal for me is that I must get to Ikeja, regardless of how long. And if I go through a longer route, I've learned that next time you don't have to use that route. There are better ways of doing it. But some people might give up along the way, right? So it's never an option for me to give up. And these days I always tell people, my team, they're sick of hearing it, I'm sure. Mind over matters, What's the goal? What's our goal? Then just go and get the goal. Just get it, and all that. So
yeah, I like the idea that mind over matter, because once your mind has conceived a thing, once you can see the vision, then you can attain it.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. So what systems or structures, coming into your office, there's a lot of structure in place. I remember when I came, you were having your MPR, your monthly performance review.
Yeah.
So what systems and structures have you put in place, even in terms of recruitment, in terms of just building the company, that you feel like you can share with us?
So one of the important things, and that's why I tell young business owners, right? I think it's always good to start from a professional setting. in an organization. That experience is really important. Well, you find a lot of young people now, fresh from school, and they want to take on the world. It's possible, but it's just there are lessons also to be learned when you have that experience and that growth and that education from professional environment. So I think one of the things that helped is I had worked in Zenith Bank. And so I had worked in institutions that have structures, right? And I have seen how structures are built. So that was really helpful. And when I left to do an MBA, I always say that when you want to start, go back to the drawing board, go and learn and keep learning. So, and I was just learning how to be a better business owner, not really to be a makeup artist, because they're two different kinds of businesses. So that also helped me. So I had first-hand experience working in Zenith. Then I had classroom experience with world of case studies doing my MBA. So when I came to start the business, it was clear the kind of institution I wanted to build. And there was nothing like that for cosmetic brands and businesses in Nigeria yet, right? It was just like normal SME kind of business and all that. But I wanted to build something. So it was something that would outlive me. That was the goal from the start. And we're not even there yet. We're still in that journey of building that kind of business, a lasting business. So building structures was inevitable. I had to build structures. So it's important. So we have departments, we have sub-departments, we have HR, we have supply chain, we have the accounts, we have marketing, we have sales, we have business development. And I mean, we have all the structure that, so people just come and assume the structures that are there. And the structures keep growing and they keep changing. Because like I said, change is the only thing that's constant. So you have to make sure that you're growing and changing in line with markets.
Change, right?
You really can't be afraid of change. It's a constant. It's especially when you're working in a local environment like Nigeria. Nigeria is so unpredictable. So it's only if you can adapt to change very quickly that you can really thrive as a business person in Nigeria.
Wow, I love that. One thing that came to mind when you were speaking was intention. So you set your mind on something, you had the intention to achieve it, and then you're constantly going at it. But if you started off not really understanding what your goal was, then that's the case of going from Lagos to Ibadan to get to Ikeja.
Absolutely.
Right? Or from
Absolutely.
the island to
Absolutely.
How has your work shaped women empowerment in Nigeria, and how have you measured success?
Amazing. I've always said that when people say, who are your competitors? And they say foreign brand, I said, absolutely no. And they say local brands, sorry. I'm like, local brands are not my competitors. The foreign brands are the problems we have because I want us to own us. Yes. So what we're most proud of with Zaron Cosmetics, woman made for the woman of color by the woman of color. So it's my gain and my pride and my joy that there are more local brands that are thriving and are doing well in Nigeria. And I must say that when we started, there was barely any beauty brand that had anything tangible. It was just maybe Tara, and I really can't even think of more names that I can really say proudly that we had local brands. But now, oh my God, the narrative is so different. There's so many good, great Nigerian-owned beauty brands, and that gives me so much joy. And I know for sure that they saw Zaron, that if Zaron can do it, then we can do it. Yeah. So it's good to be that role model for Africans and especially Nigerian brands. So it's been very rewarding in that regard. And for me, I always say when they say what's success, for me it's growth and contribution. And growth as it relates to making more money, and being a better mother and growing and scaling the business and all that it takes, to contribution as regards giving impact and everything that has to do with contribution. So that's what success is for me.
So given everything that you've accomplished so far, and you've done really well, thank God.
Thank you.
Yes, I've watched your journey.
And you too. I'm
Yes,
so
I
proud
watched your
of you.
journey. I can't remember now. Maybe like 8 years.
Yes, about that.
Yes, about that.
About that.
And just seeing the growth and everything. I remember coming here the first time. I was downstairs and buying makeup, and I was like, "Oh, can I see your MD?" And they're like, "Who are you? Like, why do you want to see her?" But then somehow
Yeah.
I came upstairs and got to see you. But so what does building with God mean to you? Like, how has that, the journey of building with God, how has that, grown over time, and what is it now in your everyday decision making?
I mean, it sounds cliche, but it's absolutely everything, especially for my story. If you know my story and where I'm coming from, like, single mom with two babies, I was 30, just not knowing what's going to happen with our lives and all that in this harsh economy. And we're where we are today. It can only be God, for crying out loud. And I know that, and I know His grace upon me. And I always say that, He says He's the father to the widow, right? So I use that. I'll be like, I'm your wife. You have to do this, and all that. So I just know that I have that grace upon me. But the most important thing, however, is that you have to put in the work. He requires the work for you, because you bless the labor of our hands. I mean, so you have to give Him something to work with. So I do know that, and I understand the dynamics of just having that grace upon my life. So I work. I give Him the substance and He blesses. So I do my part, and He would always, because he would never go, His words will never return to Him void. So once I give Him that substance, He just fills it and brings it back. So it's and that's the thing. We have to know our God. Right?
I love that. Please, can you say that again?
We really have to know our God, in whom we serve and trust. But there are principles, and it's very clear. I always say that the Bible is the best MBA class anybody could ever have. If you understand the principles in the Bible, you will be successful, because everything is there. But sometimes we just pray in lane words, and we don't actually understand what it takes. So it's very, very important for you to really understand who your God is. And even if it's not just about the blessing, right? It's also the emptiness that you feel if you don't have Christ in you. If you're just, imagine just working this life without, we're not even working from a place of perfection. I'm just saying, but just working and not knowing that you have Christ in you, like, I don't know. It would just be a really, really empty life. So it's very fulfilling knowing that you're working with God and you're in God, and He's with you, and He would never leave you or forsake you. Exactly.
So do you have any word of encouragement for anyone who is afraid to leave their comfort zone and go out for more, or want more, or search for more, or build more than they already have?
Absolutely. I always say that I said I have three roadmaps, right? First thing is the power of the mind, which I've already spoken about. Second thing is making it timelines, give it timeline. They said the difference between a goal and a dream is timeline. So if you don't put time into it, that means it will always be a dream. So go for it. Then the last thing is making it work. It's an everyday thing. You have to be there. We call it in Nigeria is the grind. Business schools will teach you that the most successful people are the smartest people. But in Nigeria, it's smartness and hard work. You have to combine both, because it's harsh and it's unpredictable. So making it work. So please, please, please just go there. And I always say that the only people that can take Nigeria from where it is today are business owners. The government can only do so much, but if you build thriving businesses, you are fulfilling destiny, because you're raising men and you're raising women. And the kingdom requires every single one of us, and that's love. Every single one of us to do our part. So please, be encouraged.
Thank you. So, very quick rapid fire questions. Morning run or evening walk?
Evening walks, of course, I'm an evening person, so yes.
Bright colors or neutrals?
Oh, that's so hard. Can I say in between? Yes, more neutrals, but sometimes I like bright colors. So yeah, I think I'll do neutral colors. Yeah.
Okay. A life hack that everyone should know.
And make choices that serves you right. Always make the best choices that would serve you, not choices that will hurt you later.
Thank you.
You're welcome.